Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Moletrap here, bringing you another StarCraft commentary. This is MSL100 Game 74, and this game is slightly less ancient than some of the other games that we've been looking at. This is a game between Pusan and Jaedong, and very interesting game. I'm looking forward to this. This is the round of 16 in the first GOMTV MSL. GOMTV sponsored a few different MSLs. And as I mentioned in the past, obviously GOMTV had enough success with sponsoring StarCraft leagues that they decided to create their own StarCraft 2 league. And that was fun to be a part of, gotta say. Any case, StarCraft 1 is what we're watching right now. Pusan versus Jaedong. So let me give you guys a little context here, as usual. So Jaedong, if you have been a fan of StarCraft at all, you'll probably have heard his name before. Probably the greatest Zerg, objectively speaking, to ever play the game. And basically one of the top players as far as rankings and what have you go as well. And this is an interesting point, though, because this is 2006. And Jaedong really came out and started destroying everyone in 2007. So this is kind of before his real prime time of 2007 to like 10 time period, basically. And I say 2010 not because he like got bad in 2010, but StarCraft just stopped being as a thing because of StarCraft 2 around that time, essentially. Like, I think the last OSL was 2011 or something like that. The last StarCraft StarCraft 1 OSL, that is. In any case, so he's playing against Pusan, and this is an interesting point. So Pusan is someone who you may not have heard of. If you have been watching for a long time and you remember the team leagues and stuff, and you'd watch all the qualifiers, then you've definitely heard of Pusan, though. He was someone who was a very perennial qualifier. He would often get into the early stages of tournaments. And what is going on here? Jaedong hiding his drone, and now, okay, Pusan's gonna go back down, and okay, I'm not sure what's going on. It looked like he hid his drone from the scouting probe so he could plant a hatchery down, but then he didn't plant the hatchery down. Maybe he didn't have enough yet, and decided to do some mining there. Okay, now he's fighting for that hatchery spot. He's gonna have to fall back, get those lings in the battle. Lings are like, let us clear the way for the hatchery. In any case, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so Pusan, he was kind of like, he's a really solid player, but he never had a ton of success. Now, this is an instance where he actually got third place in an OSL earlier in this year. This game is being played in December of 2006. And in February of 2006, he actually got third place in the OSL. So this is kind of like his peak if he had one, basically. But again, he was a guy that was often in the round of 16s, and didn't usually get into the round of 4. He would often qualify and get in the round of 32s and the group stages and what have you of MSLs, but he just very rarely was able to have a ton of success. But he was also a solid, really dependable member of his team in the team leagues as well. So he was like, really solid player. Like, think of it like if you think of your famous of a baseball team. There's 9 starters, right? And maybe 1 or 2 of them are stars that you are famous for hitting all the home runs. But the other 7 have to be really damn good to be on the starting team, right? So, in any case, that's kind of Pusan's role in this, basically. We do have Jaedong putting down an extra hatchery in the bottom right, by the way. Going for a hidden third, or maybe not hidden as much as a remote third, since it's a pretty obvious spot for him to put a third base. So, look at that. It's kind of cute. He's got a little Zergling stuck in that tiny little gap to block any scouts from going through. This is a weird map. I forgot the name of this map. It's probably written on the screen somewhere in Korean. But I do vaguely remember this map having this weird middle space that has minerals, and it's just really hard to push across the map, basically. And obviously, as you can see this probe doing, it can go around the bottom of the map as well. And so we had some really interesting games on this map where the map control was really strange, and you had armies trying to circumvent the middle by going around the south and that kind of thing. It is a 2-player, 2-spawn map, by the way. And Pusan does get in there, and he scouts with that probe. Like I said, not really super hidden. as much as remote. So he scouts over that probe, sees that there's another base going on the bottom right, and knows that he can respond to it either by putting pressure on or getting a third base of his own eventually at some point. Usually it's very common for the Zerg to get a third beforehand, before anyone else, because their bases where they put to get minerals mining are also their production facilities. So, you know, he might not drone up and put a lot of resources into that third base, but at least he's got that hatchery down so he can produce more units with it. Lair is being built right now, and it looks like we do have Jaedong just kind of going into econ mode at this point. I think I saw that he wasn't mining gas, basically. So, and here's the counter to the Zergling in the gap, is the Zealot in the gap. And actually, he's not even gonna go, he's gonna run across, and this is really cute. He's not hoping to do a ton of damage with this, but by sending 2 Zealots out, he's not investing very much, but he's forcing Jaedong to make other stuff. He's saying, you know what, you can't just keep spending money on drones. You have to spend it on some Zerglings to deal with these 2 Zealots. It's exactly the point right now, because as I was starting to say, oh, and he does get a surround on the Zealots. Good, decent micro by the Zealots, but then he just stops microing them. There's not a lot you can do against that many Zerglings. And the Dragoon sees that as like, whoa, 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 no, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that many Zerglings. Stargate coming in. Templar Archives as well. Are we going to see an Arbiter Tribunal? We see a Corsair being built right now. Very nice. What are those Zerglings doing? Corsair is really great for getting a scout on what the Zerg is doing, and obviously also to just kind of take control of the air. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be, you know, getting an air build, but okay, we got a Den, Hydros Den, and a Spire going down, and those Zerglings keep getting stuck on that little ridge in the middle there. That's kind of interesting that the pathing makes them do that in a strange way. Zerglings running around here just trying to see if they can do any extra damage, or trying to see what's going on, I guess, and get a nice view of Jaedong's fingers. And actually, by the way, I just reminded me, one of my videos that has the most views on my entire YouTube channel is a video I took of, I think it was Jaedong, in a qualifier where I was able to stand over him and just basically point a video camera down at his hands while he was playing, and you can see how fast he moves in the heat of battle. It's just kind of crazy. If I can, I'll link that to it. I don't know if there's a thing in the top right of your screen right now. It's a link to that video, but I don't know if I know how to make that happen. So we'll see if that happens. If not, I'll put it at the end. In any case, we got some Mutalisks coming out. Very interesting. Some Mutas coming out to do some harassment. Now, one of the things about this base is because of that huge distance between the third base and the bottom of the map, it makes it really hard for Protoss to take a third base, and so we do see Pusan just kind of like chilling on his 2 bases, getting his tech up, and oh, there's a Tark Templar. Oh, and that's exactly what that Sunken Colony was built for with the Overlord there, was to protect against this, but he sneaks past and is able to get, looks like a couple drone kills. Looks like 2 kills on that Templar right now, and here's a third. Oh, another Dark Templar ran in another spot too, so very cute play by Pusan, get a little bit of damage, not too much of an investment, but it distracts Jaedong. Looks like he probably got 3 or 4 drones and a couple lings, so probably not worth in terms of the actual kill count, but maybe worth in terms of the distraction, forcing those Mutalisks to fall back to make sure he has enough to kill off those Templar. He does have High Templar out as well. Actually, he's turned them into an Archon, which is going to be really good against those Mutas. Archons, if you're not familiar with them, are do splash damage, and so they're primary damage isn't splash damage, but they do a small amount of splash damage, and so really good against clumped up Mutalisks. And here he comes. Yeah, see, we can see him running away from the Archon there, and the Zealots are I mean, it's kind of like a back and forth where the Zealots are really easy prey for the Mutalisks, and that's part of the reason why I made so many Mutalisks, is to try and pick off those Zealots. And ooh, lurkers are out now. There we go. Lurkers are out, and those are also going to be really good against those Zealots. I mean, one of the things you can do against the Zerg is to make mass Zealots. And what is he doing with these lurkers? Is he going to put one in the middle of the map at that choke point maybe? Oh, here comes in. He's going to plant the lurker down. He knows that the detection is not very good right now. He's using cannons. I mean, there's an observatory there, but yeah, where does he have an observer on the map? I don't know if he does actually. And Mutalisks are trying to protect this one lurker that's kind of stuck in the middle. 3 lurkers now. This could be bad, though. He's investing a lot of money into this. Now, he has an overlord with speed. Is he going to use that to try and kill off the observer? Yeah, if an observer comes in, he's going to try and kill it with the Mutalisk. But here's the overlord. I'm sorry, the Corsair and the Archon, and everything's going to die here. He's not going to... Is he going to be able... He does pick off the observer, but the... Oh! All of the lurkers die first. What is he doing now? He's trying to kill off this Corsair? It's kind of taking needless damage on those overlords. Not really a good investment there. He loses 3 lurkers, loses 3 or 4 mutas, it looked like, as well. And what did he get? He got a pylon and an observer and a Corsair. Not a good trade, I don't think. Jaedong has a really good economy going, though, so at least he can push out on the map with a new group of units and try and take control. I think that was a little bit of a mistake to push in there. It might have been better for him to just contain. I mean, imagine if those 3 lurkers were next to that little gap in the middle instead. That'd be an impossible gap for him to cross. There'd be no way for him to go through the middle of the map. And that would be, I think, really good place for him to stage from, and then be able to harass with those mutas against the second base, maybe move Zerglings around the bottom, something like that. But in any case, we do push on here, and Jaedong, I think, probably still does have a little bit of an economic advantage. Be really surprised if he doesn't take a 4th base pretty soon. But he's just continuing to try and push out and do damage with these lurkers, and just trying to control space with overlords. And there's another overlord just running through the middle of the map, probably grouped up with those other units, and goes down very quickly. So Pusan just has a really good position here. He's able to control the middle of the map, and you can see it's not too far of a distance between that 2nd and the 3rd base for Pusan. So he can kind of go back and forth and deflect any attacks that Jaedong tries to throw at him. And, you know, obviously, much easier situation. Now imagine if that base was in the bottom left instead. He gives up control of the middle, he gives up defense of the middle, and then it's also farther distance for his units to run around. Now we actually see that Pusan is going on the offensive here now as well. He's pushed his forces down around the bottom map, like I said, and is going to be able to push into those expansion bases of Jaedong. Jaedong building up some static defenses at his 2nd base, but his 3rd, okay, his 3rd is static def as well. If those lurkers finish morphing, which they will in time, then 3 lurkers and a few sunkens is going to be plenty. But instead, he's going to... Oh, no. Nicely done. Good placement of those lurkers. They're spread out, so he can't storm 2 of them at once. But he's pushing in anyway. The observer is there. The Scourge goes in. The Scourge kills the observer. Nicely done. But he's able to storm the other one. Yes, enough storms to kill off those lurkers. He knew where they were. Oh, those lurkers are clumped up. He storms 2 or 3 of them at once. And he just keeps trying to send in Scourge to kill off observers, but it doesn't even matter. He just doesn't have the forces here. He cannot depend on this strategy of killing off observers and then having lurkers, especially now that there's High Templar in the mix. He can storm them anyway, even if he doesn't have vision of them. Arbiter Tribunal? Whoa. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Probably going to have Arbiters coming out here pretty soon. It's going to make it really, really nice that he's going to be able to cloak all of his units and kind of give Jaedong a taste of his own medicine. If you can have cloak units, so can I. And then Jaedong's gonna... I mean, it's obviously a lot easier for Jaedong. He's got speed upgraded overlords. He can make those pretty easily and cheaply and have them run around with his army, so he's not gonna have too big of a problem with dealing with the vision issue. But we did have Pusan. It was very clever of him. Now, this is interesting. Pusan, he moved down through the bottom of the map where it was easier for him to push through, and in order to get his units past the choke point. And then he pushed up into the defensive position. Maybe, I mean, he didn't know that that position was defended that well, but he pushed up into defended position in the middle instead of trying to go for the bottom right. The bottom right is pretty well defended now too, though, so I don't know if that would have been a better play, but just was not able to accomplish much with that push through the bottom, basically. And here's these overlords, again, grouped with the units in the bottom right, are just kind of just dying as they run across the map. Lurker caught out as well. And Jaedong has this little spot here with with 1 Scourge and an Overlord and 2 Lurkers. A very good defense against small amounts of units, but is he going to be able to defend this? Is he going to be able to defend this push by Pusan? Now pushing up into the natural expansion. Pusan, you can see, obviously taking a 4th base as well in the bottom. And here we go. We missed part of the battle, but he's just pushing him with storms and storming the lurkers. Interestingly, not storming that clump of Zerglings would have been a nice juicy target, but he might be saving his storms for the lurkers. It looks like he's got 4 or 5 Templar, And, oh, these lurkers stopping the reinforcements from coming. Nicely done. He's pushing into the natural, though. Is this going to be the killing blow? I don't think it's quite going to be enough to kill everything off, but he's doing a lot of damage. He's put down all the storms. Oh, he gets a storm on the drones as well. Kill off some economy. It looks like Jaedong is going to be able to hold this off, though. Pulling drones, maybe he's not going to hold it off. I'm imagining Zergling is going to pop out and be able to kill this off. Yeah, okay, there's only a few Dragoons left, so they're going to be able to be finished off pretty quickly. And Jaedong holds. Did he lose enough to make it a problem, though? Oh, what the heck? There is an Arbiter in the main base attacking. What is going on? What is this Arbiter doing? What did he try and do a recall or something? I don't know what that Arbiter's doing. And the Arbiter escapes somehow, just walks away, or well, you know, not really walks, but how did an I am so confused. I really wonder, was that Arbiter clumped with those troops and he A-moved into the main and it just flew into the main somehow? Or I don't know exactly what happened there. Did he try and do a recall and he didn't have energy for it because he miscalculated? Very strange situation. Because we didn't see dead units in the main, so it's not like there was a recall that we missed. Anyway, well, he's got an Arbiter now. Maybe he forgot to upgrade recall. Okay, this 5th base is dead before it started, unfortunately. He's going to have to cancel that Nexus and all the cannons. If those Zerglings had come in there, you know, 30 seconds later, that base would have been fully established and probably defensible. But 12 Zerglings, which with very decent upgrades. I think they're actually crack upgraded Zerglings. The adrenal glands that are the hive upgrade that lets them attack faster. That one lurker is still just doing work. Just kind of getting free damage as things walk by, and we just heard a Scourge go off against an Observer, I think. But Pusan just ignores it. He says, you know what, I'm just going to run past here. I don't care. I've got shields. The shields recharge. I'm just going to ignore it, or maybe he doesn't notice. I don't know. But or maybe it's just too much of a bother for him to care. That one lurker is not going to do as much damage as he is going to do, as Pusan is going to do with this attack. Running in, again, pushing into that natural expansion. Again, going for the throat instead of going for the side expansions. Although, actually, here he sent a couple Zealots in. Never mind, he is going to go for the side expansion. Sent a couple Zealots in there just to try and do some damage and realize it's completely undefended. And nice storm is going to hit 2 of those lurkers. Another storm is going to block any Zerglings running in. And that base goes down very quickly. I think Jaedong needs to pull back and not throw away his troops. Oh, look at the storms! Beautiful, well, I mean, he kill his own Dragoons as well, but nice storm spread. He may have actually even used, if you have, I don't know the details of how the mechanics work exactly, but if you have High Templar that are close enough together and you cast Storm as a group, they will actually cast a net Storm where they're not storming the same spot. Whereas sometimes if you cast Storm and they're not positioned right, then they'll just cast 3 storms in the same spot, which doesn't help, obviously. In any case, here's possibly the final battle of this game. Huge storms coming down, killing off all the lurkers. The lurkers are so clumped up. The Zerglings running on top of them. And despite having a better army, a more massive army, I should say, not necessarily better, more massive army, Jaedong loses them all to storms in this tiny choke point outside of his natural. Can he rally enough forces? He knows he cannot. And there's the GG coming in from Jaedong. Pusan takes the game, and very nicely done. Pusan, you know, and that would be a much bigger deal if that game happened a year and a half later when it was Pusan beating the champion tyrant of Jaedong. But, you know, like I said, this is Jaedong still finding his footing, still figuring out his gameplay, getting it to the top level enough that he can be, you know, the best player in the world, essentially, for a time. And I know there's a little asterisk there because he kind of rose to his fame and his monstrosity at the same time as Flash, right? And so they're kind of considered by most people to have shared the title of the best player in the world for most of the time that they were dominant. In any case, well done by Pusan. Just played it perfectly, played the map perfectly, used his positioning well, and unfortunately Jaedong just was not able to control well enough to deal with those storms. He kept his units clumped up a lot, and I think that was the deciding factor. He lost so many lurkers that if he'd had, and you know, I'm not necessarily blaming him for it, because if he'd had more time or more map control or just more room to maneuver in some of these small little passageways in that map, then he might have been able to spread out his lurkers more and have them make more of a difference. He might have been able to, you know, save some units and get out more Hydralisks. He might have been able to dodge storms with his Zerglings and try to get more damage done with them. But unfortunately, the storms were just the MVP of that game, and just storm after storm after storm, landing huge hits on lurker clumps, landing huge hits on massive columns of Zerglings, and Pusan takes the game. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.